Good morning and welcome to the future proofing of Ohio's land data, how counties can simplify modernization with Esri and MNC. My name is Leanna Chan and I am your host today, and I'm delighted to have county professionals from across Ohio and beyond joining us. This webinar kicks off a targeted educational initiative that is empowering Ohio's small and medium-sized counties to modernize land records, because we know accurate parcel data underpins local tax revenues, infrastructure projects, and public trust. I'd like you to meet our partners, Esri and MNC. This webinar is a joint effort between Martin Newby Consulting, also known as MNC, and Esri, that are partnering to bring proven practical modernization. MNC brings 25 years of experience guiding clients through land record modernization, digital plan workflows, and complex data migrations across North America and the Caribbean. As an Esri Gold partner with parcel management specialty, their approach means modernization that sticks with hands-on, supportive, and results-driven experience. Esri is the global leader in geographical information systems, supporting over 350,000 organizations in over 130 countries globally. Their ArcGIS technology is the backbone of many land administrative systems worldwide, providing a platform and tools behind the digital parcel modernization. In this webinar, you will see real-world examples and hear some really great stories. A few housekeeping matters that we need to take care of is that we are recording today's session, and you'll receive an on-demand link afterwards that you can watch at your convenience. And if you need to leave early, no problem. You'll be able to watch everything and you won't miss out. Questions are welcome, so please feel free to submit any questions at any time in the Q&A chat. We will do our best to address them live, and if we don't get to them, we promise that we will get back to you through email or text. If you manage parcels in Ohio, you're likely facing at least some of these issues: misaligned parcels that are draining tax revenue and risking disputes, manual and repetitive processes, data silos, and relying on tools like CAD or ArcMap. The challenge is to do more with less, modernizing without blowing your budget or overwhelming your staff. So today is about making modernization achievable and not aspirational. A few things that we will be covering is how ArcGIS, Parcel Fabric, and Pro directly solve misalignment, version control, and workflow headaches, real-world workflows for editing parcels and collaborating across tax, survey, and engineering teams, digital plan submission and automated QA, saving days on reviews, reducing costly rejections and backlogs, as well as regional proof and ROI, where you hear about places like Barbados and Alberta and have made the jump and have not looked back. Next, I'd like to introduce our speakers. Jared Fox is Esri's solution engineer based in Minnesota, working closely with city and county governments in Ohio and Wisconsin. With roots in county public works and deep GIS experience, Jared specializes in helping governments upgrade their land records and operational workflows. He holds degrees from the University of Illinois and Urbana-Champaign and UCLA. Outside of work, you'll find him running or biking in the Twin Cities trails or cheering on Minnesota sports. Matt Fisher is the Director of Business Development at MNC. With over 20 years in vision and solution design for geospatial modernization, Matt bridges technical, business, and people challenges for clients everywhere. He's known for making modernization actionable and helping local teams to go from stuck to streamlined, always focused on outcomes rather than buzzwords. In his free time, Matt spends time with family and friends or shopping for records in Discogs, as he is an avid vinyl collector. Now let's get started. Let's jump in. Over to you now, Matt.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Leanna. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I wanted to thank you all for joining us today, and also thank Jared and the entire Esri team, of course, for co-hosting this webinar with MNC. Today, this webinar is about you, the county teams who make Ohio's land data work each and every day. We'll focus on your realities, your challenges, and how modern tools can help you do your jobs more efficiently. Now, many counties are facing the same obstacles: aging systems, looming ArcMap retirement, disconnected data, limited staff time, and lost taxation revenue. But here's what success can look like when those challenges are addressed: accurate, authoritative parcel data that strengthens taxpayer confidence and supports reliable revenue. Simple, connected workflows and dashboards to spot misalignments and fix them fast. A unified, authoritative data set that feeds every department, reducing silos and manual rework. Streamlined CAD to GIS integration that eliminates tedious conversions. Smooth, low-risk migration to ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric with ongoing support. And clear return on investment through fewer errors, faster turnaround times, and less risk. Now that we've explored the challenges that counties are facing, let's take a look at how modernization comes to life in the real world. Take it away, Jared.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Leanna. It's a pleasure to be here with you all. I know I have had the chance to visit with many folks here in Ohio. Just to begin, for those of you who may not be intimately familiar with Esri, we are the Environmental Systems Research Institute, headquartered in Redlands, California, but I operate out of our Midwest regional office out of Eagan, Minnesota. We serve North and South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio out of our office. We have around 5,000 employees here in the United States, and you may recognize various people from our product teams and our various videos that we've put out. So I'm very grateful to be here with you all today. So now that you understand who Esri is and what we do, let's get into one of the main reasons that we're talking about this and we're having a conversation about modernizing land records. And that's really because it's time to migrate away from ArcMap. So ArcMap will be retiring in March of 2026. And for a lot of people, this will put them in a difficult situation of being on unsupported software. So ArcGIS Pro is what's going to offer a modern, efficient, and future-ready GIS platform to streamline parcel management, improve data accuracy, and enhance public service delivery. With built-in support for Parcel Fabric, Pro simplifies editing workflows, supports multi-user editing, and integrates seamlessly with ArcGIS Online and Enterprise for real-time data sharing. As ArcMap is nearing its retirement, moving to ArcGIS Pro ensures continued support, access to the latest tools, and alignment with Esri's evolving land records ecosystem. Now is the time to modernize your workflows and unlock the full potential of your GIS investment. So Esri's land record solutions provide key capabilities that support three common business needs for assessment and land records management. The solutions are for parcel management, property value analysis, and stakeholder engagement. Today, we're going to focus on parcel management and value analysis. Parcel editing is the foundation of local governments around the world. That's why I'm excited to show you some powerful new ways that you can use ArcGIS Pro and the Parcel Fabric. So let me show you how it works using parcels in Sheboygan County, Wisconsin, located on the western shore of Lake Michigan. So as you can see, we're here in the Midwest, Sheboygan County on the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. Let's zoom in a little bit to take a look at what those parcels look like. As we can see, we have the city and its parcels associated with it. Here is a close-up of the ArcGIS Parcel Fabric. A typical workflow for a map technician is to take two parcels, in this case described as lots 6 and lot 7, and merge them together. You'll notice in the upper left corner of the map frame that a record has already been created. Parcel Fabric in Pro is a record-driven workflow, meaning every transaction will have a record associated with it that you can look back and reference. Let's go ahead and enter the parcel records workflow and select the two parcels that I want to merge together. I'll now go to the Tools directory and click Merge. You'll see the parcel IDs of the two parcels I want, the layer it's going to be applied to, and now what is the new parcel ID that I want to enter? Looking at this, it looks like I'm all set to go, so I'm going to go ahead and click Merge. Now, I realize that was simple, but what's really exciting is what's happening behind the scenes with the Parcel Fabric. You can see here by turning on the tax historic layer that it's kept a record of what exactly happened in that change. You can also see the original square footage of each parcel in addition to the new combined square footage. All of this was done automatically. Finally, let's take a closer look at the merge transaction. When I turn on my Parcel Fabric layer, you can see the record number, the type of transaction it was, and the date that it was recorded. And if I come back into my Map tab and click Explore, you can see that this record has all of the different components that may need to be included from a deed to store information in one authoritative source without having to reference separate documents in a document management system. The Parcel Fabric is designed to work in a single user deployment on a file geodatabase like you've been seeing here. But we can also take this to scale with much larger projects, like Harris County, Texas, with over 1.8 million parcels. So we can see here the extent of Harris County. And let's just go ahead back to the Map tab here so we can really hone into how detailed this has to be. All the way down to each individual bearing for 1.8 million parcels. It's truly an extraordinary amount of data that we're storing here. And now in terms of how can I have this accessed by multiple users? Well, when I pop into my catalog here, as you can see, I'm logged into my enterprise portal. I'll pop into that portal and you can see the group here available for my Harris County Parcel Fabric. All the associated features of this are stored within my enterprise and can be accessed by authorized members of my organization, or if necessary, shared out into the public. Version management can also be important. If I go over to the contents pane and list my data by data source, you can see that those parcels are coming from an individual data service. And if I need to see who else might be working on this or how many versions I can have, you can see all of those applicable versions at a touch of a button. So whether you have one editor or 1,000 editors, the ArcGIS Parcel Fabric can scale to your needs. Now let's take a look at property value analysis capabilities driven by the Parcel Value Analysis solution. This solution is designed to help assessors with challenges surrounding appraisals and valuation. It helps to defend property appraisals and assessments against rising complaints and appeals from property owners. The Parcel Value Analysis solution includes a collection of focused maps and apps designed to work together as a comprehensive system for visualizing analysis and assessment capabilities. It helps map spatial patterns buried in data and presents easily digestible information to your end users. It starts with importing your own authoritative property data and sharing that data with assessors and property appraisers. Let's start by first taking a look at the Neighborhood Explorer page. Assessment neighborhoods serve as the primary building blocks for parcel evaluations. The Neighborhood Explorer page provides assessors an easy way to visualize key characteristics that make up each neighborhood. We created one simple, focused application that could be used by anyone in your office to explore neighborhood data. You'll see at the top of the screen we have a search bar. Here we can search for an assessment neighborhood within the system using its neighborhood code. Let's go ahead and search for a neighborhood. You'll see at the top of the screen we have a search bar. Here we can search for an assessment neighborhood within the system using its neighborhood code. We're going to search for a neighborhood now. Let's type in 786. Once I click search, the application will zoom to that neighborhood on the map and filter our data based on the assessment neighborhood. We can see here there are 40 parcels included in this neighborhood, and we're also provided with some totals and averages of key statistics. We get a good visual of the distribution of the structure area, and we are also provided with different data characteristics that may be important for us to understand the makeup of that neighborhood. These characteristics are given to us on tabs across the top of the page. You'll notice we have several options to explore things such as taxable value, its land value, the year built, the structure area, structure quality, and the number of floors in the structure. Now let's take a look at the sales analysis page. Analyzing sales ratios can help improve appraisal methods and identify areas that may need attention. Let's also take a look at a newer capability in Microsoft 365 called ArcGIS for Excel. You can access this new add-in through Excel by going to the Microsoft Store and adding ArcGIS for Excel. Appraisers and assessors now have the ability to leverage the powerful mapping capabilities of ArcGIS right inside Excel. The following example will apply to assessors and appraisers who need more options to visualize and analyze their CAMA data. As you can see, I have already added my assessment and sales data into this Excel workbook. Typically, this data is exported out of a CAMA system, and what ArcGIS for Excel will allow the user to do is map that data alongside other GIS layers and then share those visualizations into our GIS. Once the add-in is installed, you can access it through the ArcGIS tab at the top, right up here. To start off, I'll go ahead and open a map that I've already added to my Excel workbook. The ArcGIS for Excel add-in allows you to map based on a variety of different spatial types. So let's go ahead and see how to add data to a map. If I go over to Layers and select Add, you'll see I have the option to view any different table within my existing workbook. I can also set any kind of location data that may be associated with it. So let's say my data already had a coordinate set within it. I could go ahead and add that directly to my map. So in this case, my data does not have coordinates associated with it. I'm going to need to reference geographic data from my existing ArcGIS Online organization. I can go down and find groups that I belong to and data from within my organization. I'll search for the layer that already has my parcels associated with it, so I can join my parcel number in the Excel file to my parcel number within my existing feature data set. Now I've already gone ahead and completed this join, so let's take a look at what that data looks like. As you can see here, I have all of my assessment data ready to go just like any other feature layer within ArcGIS Online. I've also gone ahead and mapped the sales data tab out so I can see where those are in relation to my existing parcels. And for additional context, I've added my assessment neighborhoods that we looked at earlier in the parcel value analysis solution. So everything that I had available to me within the web platform, I also now have available within Excel. And if you're looking to add a little bit of customization, all these layers are fully customizable. So just like you can within the web environment, I can change the color, I can change outlines, and I can even go ahead and modify things like layer transparency and edit those pop-ups. Once I'm satisfied with this map, if I ever had a need to share it out, I can go to the Share tab, publish this to my ArcGIS Online portal or my Enterprise portal, or if I just want to get the map out, I can go ahead and click the Export feature and export that data in a variety of file formats. The ArcGIS for Excel add-in allows the users to update their spatial data in a number of different ways. Updating symbology, labeling, transparency, scale dependency, scale ranges. It's just like ArcGIS is embedded right within whatever system you want it. This new capability for Microsoft 365 allows users to easily visualize and analyze their CAMA data information using the power of ArcGIS.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We have time for our first poll question. So the first question is, how do you currently manage your records? Please select one of these. CAD ArcMap Simple Feature Classes, ArcMap Parcel Fabric, ArcGIS Pro Simple Feature Classes, ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric, or QGIS Paper Records or other.
Wow, thank you so much for that, Jared. Truly exceptional demos, wonderful stuff. Before we get into some of MNC's content here, I want to tell you a little bit about our background here. At MNC, we help governments modernize how they manage land and parcel data. Our focus is really on accuracy, integration, and sustainable modernization. So your systems work better, not harder. And a little more specifically, we deliver modern parcel fabric and cadastral mapping solutions. We build digital submission tools that simplify review and approval workflows and processes. And we'll be taking a deeper look at that in just a few moments. We guide land administration organizations through data conversion, modeling, and migration. And last but not least, we provide training and long-term support for continued success. Legacy system replacement and why this matters. Now, legacy systems aren't just old, they're costing counties time, money, and peace of mind. When CAD and GIS data don't line up, you're going to hit bottlenecks, delays, and sometimes expensive mistakes. Siloed data and systems make it hard to share data between departments or to respond quickly when things change. Every hour spent manually reviewing plans is an hour lost doing something of more higher value. And now, with ArcMap's retirement, there's a real urgency to move forward because the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to maintain and support those old legacy systems and more expensive. Our real-world case study centers around our land admin client that serves a population of 1.25 million residents and manages over 2.5 million land title parcels. They are the official provider of land titles, land surveys, personal property, and corporate registry services, which makes accuracy and efficiency critical to their operations. We had worked with them to create a modernized Esri-based GIS system, which includes an ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric covering all 2.6 million parcels. This is a really large-scale implementation that involved in integrating with multiple technology platforms, which you'll see in just a moment here. This case study really illustrates the challenges and solutions that counties face when replacing legacy systems on a large scale while maintaining data integrity and operational continuity. The GIS Land Management Modernization Project was a transformational initiative for our client, driven by the need to upgrade their land management portfolio and ensure sustainability, efficiency, and of course, innovation for the future. The first and most pressing driver was actually our ArcMap deprecation, as you know, was supporting in 2026. This created an urgent need to migrate to modern supported technologies to avoid operational disruption. Another key driver was the presence of integrated legacy systems that was built over decades. These systems were customized to manage workflows, share data between disconnected systems, and provide web map interfaces for both internal and external stakeholders like the public. But they had become cumbersome and difficult to maintain. Finally, the project required migration and modernization of legacy land data, ensuring that all parcel information could be maintained accurately and efficiently in a unified modern system. Together, these drivers create the perfect opportunity to implement a sustainable, future-ready GIS solution that supports both the organization and, of course, the public that it serves. Now, what you see on screen here is a high-level view of our client's application architecture before it was modernized. You notice many client-facing systems which weren't a part of the project, but provided context. Focusing on just the GIS side, the client had public-facing map interfaces for various services. You see that top right. Survey plan intake and digital plan submission workflows, which is, I believe, is sort of central to this schematic. Multiple geospatial touchpoints across different systems. And at the center was a legacy tool that cross-populated data between the land record system, the registry, and the GIS. So that kind of gray circle, kind of top left up there. Our goal was to replace all of the geospatial tools and interfaces with modern Esri COTS technology to create a unified, efficient, and sustainable GIS platform. The technology debt was tremendous here. The people who had designed and developed these legacy systems over decades were long gone. The situation was dire. Now we see here on screen is a schematic that shows a client's modernized GIS environment using the Esri COTS technologies and with a dash of FME as well. I'm not going to get into the detail into the weeds on this here, but suffice to say the legacy tools and interfaces were replaced with a unified supported platform, the Esri COTS, of course. Public-facing mapping interfaces and survey plan intake workflows remain, they're intact, but now they're connected to one authoritative data set, ensuring consistency, accuracy, and faster turnaround. One data set to rule them all. Overall, the new system is simpler, more efficient, and easier to maintain, supporting both staff internally and stakeholders like the public more effectively. At a high level, our solution was comprised of several key components you can see on screen here, each designed to modernize the GIS environment and streamline workflows. Going one by one here, Esri and FME Enterprise Design and Deployment. We had deployed this to Azure. We were experienced at working with AWS as well, depends on client needs, to provide a foundation for scalable cloud-based GIS platform. Parcel Fabric was implemented for cadastral and title features, along with the supporting data sets, really ensuring a one authoritative source of truth. Data modeling and migration enabled legacy land records and GIS data to be accurately brought into the new system. We have a little more detail on that coming up as well. ArcGIS Workflow Manager and Survey 123 were deployed to streamline survey planning and digital submission processes. GIS data tools were configured to define tasks, steps, and root processes, making editing in the new environment efficient and consistent. And it included over 700 QA tools, which we needed to modernize as well. The data exchange integration was that gray circle in the previous screen for land title was rebuilt to work seamlessly with the new GIS as well. Map services, both internal and external web applications, were redeveloped to improve accessibility and performance. And upgraded FME GIS data product workspaces were reworked and deployed using the new FME flow for automated data transformations. Finally, last but not least, we provided training and managed services to ensure the client could maintain, support, and expand on their new GIS environment over time. And together, all of these components resulted in a modern, efficient, and sustainable GIS ecosystem, reducing manual effort, improving accuracy, and supporting both staff and public-facing operations. Now, just a quick graphic here, you see our data migration and conversion process follows a repeatable, proven approach designed to deliver smooth, positive outcome for clients. Step one, requirements gathering. So start by understanding client data needs, how it integrates with other systems, and what the data model will need to look like. This can also include defining requirements for the ArcGIS Workflow Manager and digital plan submission tools. We move on up there to the data assessment, where we assess the existing data just to really identify what kind of cleaning or transformation needs there might need to be and determine the best mapping and migration methods, of which there can be a few options. Pilot area number 3, we always recommend this before migrating everything. We like to test a small area just to really validate our methods, what the plan is. And this allows us to refine the approach and requirements and ensure the process is solid before we move on to the grand migration. Training, staff are trained in ArcGIS Pro, including editing tools, tasks, and workloads, so they're ready to work more effectively in the new system. And this client in particular was fantastic. Their team knew that this change was coming. They were spending their nights on YouTube actually looking at various videos and getting in anticipation of the change here. And our approach here specifically is Esri has a vast library of training and help resources available through enterprise accounts that we cherry picked for this client to help enable their training. And beyond that, we spend time with our clients, this client specifically doing contextual based training. What does this all mean to them? How does this work for them in their specific context? Last step, of course, goes without saying, migration, all the data being migrated into the production environment. We provide support during the transition and continue to offer ongoing support to ensure long-term success. This repeatable approach helps minimize risk, ensures data accuracy, and really gives staff confidence in the new system. And down the lower part of your screen, you can see additional parts of the project that can be done in parallel.
Excellent, thank you. Now we have our second poll question. Which of the following challenges does your county face regarding land administration? Please feel free to check all that apply. Lack of resources, backlog of record validation, inaccurate parcel data currency, lag in record updates, or other.
Digital plan submissions and workflow manager. Why this matters. Digital plan submission and workflow manager are absolutely critical because they streamline the way parcel plans move through a county. Currently, plans are submitted in a variety of formats, which can cause backlogs, delays in approvals. The process often involves multiple departments and it crosses multiple desks, which can really slow everything down. If the data is inaccurate or incomplete, it can impact downstream processes, including, of course, defendable tax assessments. In other words, dirty data in, dirty data out. By integrating DPS with Workflow Manager, we can standardize submissions, automate routing, and enforce validation rules, really helping counties process plans faster, reducing errors, and improving confidence in the data for downstream use. You can see this graphic on screen. That is a screen capture of a Workflow Manager from this implementation. Now, digital plan submission tools may be new to some of you, so I want to provide just a bit of an overview for what they are and how they work. Now, essentially, they are software platforms or systems that automate digital plan submission, review, validation, and integration processes. Digital plan submissions is really a key differentiator for MNC. It's a cloud-based tool that automatically reviews and validates the survey plans in digital CAD format against specific requirements, standards, and best practices. And plus, it can integrate into common registry or land information systems. DPS alleviates the manual burdens and errors associated with traditional plan checking processes, and this really just results in enhanced compliance, improved accuracy and efficiency, and faster turnaround times, all of which lead to cost savings. All right. DPS tools are comprised of the following key service areas. You have the specification. Now, you can either adopt MNC's default submission spec or tailor it to meet your county's requirements. That flexibility exists. Web portal, we can provide an online submission portal that makes it easy for users to submit plans digitally, or we can integrate with an existing registry or land information system as well. Validation, so submissions are automatically checked for errors and compliance, reducing manual reviews and mistakes. This is the machines doing the work, right? Surveyors submit, machines validate. Your team is working on high value work. The next component is delivery integration. The system will create a package for delivery according to your county's needs, takes the data, transforms it to work for you. And then it can deliver that data into your GIS or other systems in a way that works your workflows. And the summer past, we actually completed a pilot project, one of our clients, to automatically integrate it right into the ArcGIS Parcel Fabric. So there's no clicks, no involvement. Full automation is great. Last step here we have is distribution, right? Configuring tools to make sure the right data gets to the right internal and external stakeholders quickly and lightly. Together, all these components can help counties process digital plans faster, reduce errors, and integrate submissions seamlessly into their workflows. Now let's take a look at the proof, okay? On screen here, you see a graph for 2024 for one of our clients that use DPS technology by month-to-month results. You can see the green bars represents the plans that were processed. So surveyors submitted these plans to the DPS, which did the automated checks. And then the blue bars, the tiny blue bars, are plans that were actually submitted to this client. So this tells me that the surveyors had to do multiple checks, multiple validations, right? Could you imagine the amount of work our client would have had to do without DPS if they were receiving all those green bars, rejecting it, pushing it back once, twice, maybe 3 times in some scenarios? The ROI is tremendous. It saves a lot of time. This project came with some significant challenges. The client required strict replication of existing workflows, which limited some opportunities to streamline, but it's a balancing act. The scope was large and complex with many simultaneous changes. Extensive data had to be migrated, 27 feature classes into 8 parcel types covering millions of features. Leadership turnover at the client side created continuity gaps and slow decision-making with retirements and people changing jobs and things of that nature, which can happen at times. But despite this, the project achieved strong successes, close collaboration between teams, kept the project moving and aligned. Esri caught solutions were extended and innovated using agile methodology. The scale and complexity deepened our technical expertise with Esri and legacy systems, because let's face it, every organization has been doing things a little bit different. It's always a great learning experience that we can then provision back out to the market to the benefit of other potential clients. Transparent communication and strong project management ensured quick issue resolution and kept everything on track. So in short, even with a challenging environment and a structured and collaborative approach, delivered a modernized, efficient, and sustainable GIS system. So in summary, every Ohio County official, whether you're an assessor, engineer, GIS manager, surveyor, you're facing real pains when it comes to outdated, disconnected land record data and systems. And Esri's ArcGIS toolset for land administration, delivered by MNC, addresses these challenges directly, aligning parcels for accurate tax rolls can be defended, integrating CAD and GIS data to reduce risk, and supporting cross-department collaboration through a centralized data set, and streamlining digital submissions. Result is a future-ready government team with accurate, dependable, and efficient data management processes.
Great. Thank you so much. Now it's time for our third and last poll question. How soon does your county plan on modernizing its land records? 1 to 6 months? 7 to 12 months? 12 to 24 months? Or 24 months and more?
So just one last thing to add about our experience working in this space. MNC has more than 25 years of experience providing services to many government organizations, as you can see on screen. The timeline gives an overview of some of the different land records projects that we have been involved with in the United States, Canada, and the Caribbean as well.
So thanks so much for allowing us to participate in this webinar and for partnering with us. Well, just want to say thank you to the folks from MNC for partnering with us on this webinar, and thank you to all the Ohio folks for tuning in, whether I know you or not. It's been a pleasure working in Ohio these last several years. And whether you're managing a few hundred parcels, like that Harris County example that we're looking at here with 1.8 million, the Parcel Fabric and these solutions and our partnership can scale to meet those needs for your organization, working with authoritative and up-to-date land records. So we hope that you leave here today feeling inspired and equipped, knowing what's possible, and take your knowledge and your work to the next level. So thank you again for your time, and we look forward to supporting you with ArcGIS.
So if you're ready to see how this can work in your county, we're offering complimentary assessment to all of our attendees, where Esri can provide a data readiness assessment to see how close you are to stepping into the future of Esri GIS for Parcel Fabric management. And MNC will provide an assessment to see what kind of services it will take to get you there. Now let's move on to our Q&A.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Matt and Jared, for that insightful conversation. It was very interesting, and it looks like we've had a number of questions come through. So the first question is, how can data be managed between internal departments, for instance, assessors and engineers?
Well, I think one of the nice things with the portal environment, as we kind of looked at in that demo, is that you can see the same layers are accessible to the same people. So once we put people in a common group, they can pass that data back and forth, and we can manage them as separate versions. So if one person is touching one part of the process, they can have their version, and then there's another version for a person touching another part of that process.
Well, data can be shared between departments by using shared databases, regular data syncing, or standard file formats. For example, like assessors manage Parcel Fabric and engineers handle utility networks. Shared systems and clear data rules help keep information accurate and accessible for everyone.
Excellent. Thank you for those thorough answers. The next question we have is, how can data in external systems be linked to parcels?
Well, as we kind of looked at in that Excel demo, you can see that we got that export just as an Excel format, and then we were able to leverage the tools within the ArcGIS extension for Excel to start visualizing that together. Now, if you want to tackle that within Pro itself, we can do those joins. I know personally, I've worked in places where we had that as a scripted process. So any data we were entering into that system, we joined up every single night and put it back out into our parcel services. So very easy to take data out and join it back up as long as you've got that common field.
I agree with you implicitly on that 100%. That's exactly what I would have said. Thank you.
I love it when
Almost
Greg minds
verbatim.
think alike. The next question we have is, what is the process to migrate ArcMap custom tools into ArcGIS Pro COTS?
Well, that does depend on what the tools are doing. So in some cases, there are new tools within Pro that are going to accomplish those functions and some of the other solutions. So things like agricultural parcel value analysis, that is now a solution that you can download from the Esri solution site. And I would imagine that maybe you folks at MNC could help stand some of those up. And then it's just a matter of if there is an existing tool that we has some specific functionality that we might need to address. We can look at that on an individual basis, but I have not come up with anybody who has run into a scenario where we couldn't do something in the newer format that we could do in the older format.
Yeah, that's great. There's a framework that we at MNC typically follow, starting with reviewing the current tool set, get an understanding for how they're being used, check out what can work in ArcGIS Pro, just as you had mentioned. There's many times, of course, there's built tools that are ready to go, and there's also things you can download to replace those customized tools. You can update, rewrite scripts, add-ins if needed. Of course, test everything in Pro. Update documentation, provide staff training as well. Kind of the back end, again, a reference point for your organization the coming months and years. And also using ArcGIS Pro's built-in tools and even AI-driven tech upgrades when possible to simplify the process.
Great. We have another question here. Will all your data and attributions be migrated over?
Yeah, so usually in the case of some people have their annotations separate from their feature layer, and that's one of probably the biggest challenges I've seen is when that underlying parcel layer doesn't have those attributes. But if the information is stored somewhere, we can tend to bring that all together. And that is one of the new advantages of using the ArcGIS Pro Parcel Fabric as opposed to maybe a CAD-based workflow or even just some older feature data set templates that we might have been using, is that Parcel Fabric, like we saw in that editing demo, has all of those fields built in for those records to store the information that's part of those deeds. So we're not having to go back and go into a document management system or file server, try and find that deed for those exact details that can all be kept within that central GIS source.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just to add one thing, quality checks. Again, we've got best practices to help counties, organizations make sure and do that sanity check that it is apples to apples, that what we have is what you need.
Excellent. Still a few more questions. Does our data need to be cleaned free of gaps or overlaps before migrating it?
Well, Matt, maybe you can speak a little bit to that. I would say, from my perspective, I've seen people with data in various different conditions. I did have somebody who sent me their parcel data. It had over 90,000 errors in it. And we were able to correct that within a couple of hours using the error inspector in ArcGIS Pro. Once we identified there were just certain common errors like curves that had become deconstructed. So once we knew what that problem was, the errors kind of fixed themselves pretty quickly.
That's exactly right. Thank you so much for adding that. So short answer, not always. We really suggest starting with like a data quality check just to see if what cleanup is needed, and if so, what kind of cleanup. But really, sometimes data, as you mentioned, could just be kind of migrated as is, because ArcGIS Pro is so flexible with minor issues. It can really accommodate that out of the box. The main thing really is that the data supports your business needs when it's done.
Excellent. Well, I think that's all the questions that we have at this time. Thank you to everyone for attending today, and thank you to our speakers, Jared and Matt. And we hope that these demonstrations have given you a clear, real-world perspective on making land record modernization manageable and valuable for your county. So what's next? If your question was not answered live, please expect a follow-up email from our team or outreach. Watch your inbox for a recording of today's webinar as well as a post survey. On behalf of all of us, thank you for attending today and for your commitment to advancing efficiencies, revenue, and public trust in Ohio. We look forward to partnering with you on your modernization journey. Thanks and have a great day.